Hello ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to the Journey to the Savage Planet review. It's not often I get a chance to complete a full game, but my gosh, I did because I was really enjoying this. I'm going to tell you right now, if you've got a spare 25 quid, $30 or so, go and give this game a try. Particularly if you like exploration and old school games where collectibles and discovering nooks, crannies and secrets is all in your thing. But a first person mode, we're not talking about Spyro, not even maybe a bit more modern Ratchet and Clank. We're talking about first person, decent combat, decent parkour, and that's pretty much it. The review is done. Well, alright, maybe not. Let's go into it a bit deeper. Don't forget to like the video, go and check out the Let's Play I've been doing of Journey to the Savage Planet, and here's the details about what the game actually is right now. Made by some of the people that brought you Far Cry 4, as well as a bunch of other games including Assassin's Creed and some of the Batman games. But this is Typhoon Studios' own first proper game on their own, just before they got bought out by Google Stadia. Anywho, it's a great adventure game. It is co-op. You can play online co-op with a friend, but no split screen. So two players can run around the world together, exploring, finding alien creatures, fighting, trying to get secrets, and ultimately try and maybe get a way off the planet. After your spaceship crash lands, you are sent to see if there's any sentient life. There's loads of humour in the game. You'll get loads of video uplinks to some nefarious director. This bald dude is going to set out your missions and give you video uplinks, basically telling you and encouraging you what you should be doing while trying to make a quick buck for the fourth best aerospace company in the world. If you're new to my channel, I am pretty much a survival channel. I give news, info, guides, gameplay, all about the survival games that are out there on console and ones that are coming to PC. And I've tried dressing this up as a sort of Subnautica style game, but without the huge massive grind and about 100 times more humour. I mean, Subnautica weren't too bad. But anyway, Journey to the Savage Planet has got a bunch of humour in there. And it's not just pure old juvenile 20 years old humour that we've kind of seen in Borderlands 3 recently. It actually rings true. It's pretty on the money.
I think you can climb these. You're resourceful. I know you can.
There was only a little bit towards the end that the robotic voice companion that guides you through Echo kind of grated on me a little bit, but for the majority of the game I found it quite funny, it was entertaining, and it did the job. It gave you what you needed to know as you're playing the game, but not spoon feeding you too much. And that's one of this game's biggest strengths. It doesn't necessarily hold your hand. You've got to go out there and find certain upgrades or certain artifacts if you want to progress, and it doesn't really just point them on the map marker and go, right, go here. You've got to actually look around for entrances, secrets. It's really old school game. That's why I refer to them games like Spyro and Ratchet and Clank. You'll get the most out of this game if you're into that sort of thing, going around gathering lots of different collectibles and basically trying to get every single artifact or upgrade you can. In fact, it's a bit of a necessity. If you really do want to get through the game pretty quickly, you're still going to have to spend some time getting the right upgrades, or at least increasing your health and your stamina, as the later bosses, there are bosses in the game, are pretty tough, and you're definitely going to need a bigger health pool if you really want to survive. It's not too crazy with the puzzle elements. You maybe not going to be scratching your head too much about what you're meant to do. No pulling 20,000 different levers. It's pretty simple when you get to certain things, like make sure some air vents are clear so that you can progress to the next part. But the combat, the exploration, it's all gelling nicely into a nice little mix. The way that you can run around and do quite a fair bit of parkour and get upgrades to improve your manoeuvrability is pretty decent too. And when you get one of the later upgrades, which is a tether or proton tether, you can really whiz around and it's really loads of fun. In fact, I wish the game developer had done a lot more of this and made it more accessible maybe from the beginning, just to have that little bit of rail action. It reminded me a little bit of Sunset Overdrive, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. The world is quite tough. You will come across creatures, and if you, like I said, you haven't got the right upgrades or spent some time getting the right points into your health and stamina, you will end up dying a fair bit. I died around 13 times in my 16-hour playthrough. It's not the world's biggest game. You could probably rattle through it in about 9 hours if you really stuck to your guns. But I'd enjoyed the time that I took exploring, getting all the upgrades that I could, and just generally seeing if there was any secrets I missed. Combat isn't too layered, it just relies on you shooting your pistol. You can upgrade the pistol with various different shots, increase its magazine size and reloading ability. It's the little tiny accessories that you can gather, these little bombs that you can really make a difference with. You can have ones that attract creatures to certain points, you've got ones that make them stick to the floor, or you've got ones that simply explode or create poisonous gas. These all have to be found. You need to find the right artifact to upgrade these, and then you have to have the right resources. Now the resources, don't worry, it's not a grindy survival game, it's simply just based on either aluminium, silicon and carbon. You'll find these resources in abundance once you start killing some of the local wildlife, or maybe taking advantage of some of the mineral deposits you'll find. So these three basics are what you're going to need to craft upgrades and get access to late game stuff. And once you find the artifact, you can go ahead and choose what you want to make. The other big resource that you're going to be going for is this alien alloy, or I like to call it the Allen alloy. These can be a little bit harder to get hold of. They're often protected in a shell where you have to defeat some enemies nearby, or kind of come up with some solution to a small tiny little puzzle. Often it's as simple as avoiding a lava or doing some sort of jumping puzzle to get to the alien alloy, which is going to help you buy lots of upgrades for your weapons and your armor. The artwork and the overall game design is really nice. I really like the art style. It's zany, it's colourful. You've got so many great, cute looking creatures and also some really disgusting looking ones. Definitely, I just wanted to spend more time exploring the environments, and there's definitely lots of room for that. You can get dragged, and if that's a good sign for me that when I'm trying to do a let's play where I just want the main story beats, I kept getting sidetracked. I had to edit about 20 minutes out of every single let's play video because it was me just exploring and going through nooks and crannies. The jump in and puzzle elements, or the parkour elements, are pretty okay. There's a few occasions where I felt like I should be able to jump onto something or at least grab onto a ledge, and that was a little bit sticky, as was maybe doing a little bit of running. Sometimes that would get a bit stuck, but otherwise it was great having the freedom to kind of jump onto scenery pieces that normally in other games would have an invisible wall, but in this game it lets you do it. You can jump, you can just literally launch yourself off the air, and if you've got the right upgrades you can save yourself so much time traversing the world of ARI 26. Now, as I said, the game is pretty short if you're just homing in straight on the story and the bare minimum upgrades you need to get through it. There is a slight bit of gating though with some of these upgrades. You have to perform some science experiments to unlock more of them, or more options, and these require things like kick a puffer ball guy into the air and then shoot it as it's falling. And there's some little challenges like these that you have to complete before you unlock the next rank, which unlocks the next batch of upgrades. It's a small thing, but it's clearly been put in there to help pad the game out just a little bit more. Otherwise you probably would be able to get through it fairly easy with just the most basic of stuff. There are some upgrades you absolutely need to progress, like the double boost jump and the proton tether, and that requires a bit of legwork going around exploring, and that's basically part of the game. Running around different biomes looking for the certain artifacts that will help you craft the items. You're going to need to use that scanner to scan lots of the fauna around, and there's lots of little collectibles that you can go out there and try and get if you want to get 100% complete. You'll obviously notice as well that a lot of the upgrades make the game a fairly bit easier, but not too easy. I found the combat section still quite challenging. They move quite with agility and they pretty much go for you, and there's quite a lot of them. In fact, I was quite surprised at how much combat was in the game. I thought it was more just about an exploration and jumping game. You can use a lot of them attachments, or them grenade bomb style ones that I showed you earlier, and they are really going to help you once you start to realise what the enemy needs to immobilise it, so you can pretty much shoot its orange bum or tail. In fact, some of these upgrades are a necessity. You can't necessarily win some of these encounters unless you've got the right upgrades. The game is absolutely rich in different style creatures, and I haven't even discovered half of them from my playthrough, so there's lots of replayability if you're into that. If you really are just about completing a story and booking, then you may be a bit disappointed in how long the actual story goes, and its conclusion kind of just comes up and rushes on you after a fair amount of exploration and finding stuff in the first part. I thought it was going to lead to something much bigger, but it ended up being just a little bit of a damp squib compared to the rest of the game. Don't get me wrong, it was fun all the way throughout, and not everything has to be a 100-hour slog through something. It's nice just to play a game, and I could actually finish this one, something that, as I said, I don't often get a chance to do, but I definitely felt like I wanted more. As I said, the story kind of builds up with the little video vlogs kind of encouraging you to find what it is out there and let them know, because you're going to come across something really substantial. And it's definitely a nice little story about the planet and why the planet is the way it is. I won't go into too much spoiler territory. There is a nice little moment at the end of the game where I was like, what? That's the end? And then I quickly got that out of my system, because thank God they didn't finish the game on that note. And it does look like you might get a choice of endings depending on how many of the collectibles or how much percentage of stuff you found on the planet once you've completed maybe the final boss. And I like that aspect, you can still go around and explore even after defeating the final dude. By the time I did complete the story, I had about 66% of the game complete, and the rest of the game would be comprised of finding collectibles and, more importantly, fuel to get off the planet. It really isn't maybe the full end of the game until you escape that planet and you need to find specific fuel containers to refuel your ship. So I like that aspect, it gives you a reason to carry on exploring and find it. And as I said, there's no hand holding, a lot of this is all just about you going around and using your eyes. You can get upgrades later on that make things a little bit easier, particularly if you're looking for more health and stamina boosts, but for definite, if you really want a hardcore experience of exploration, don't touch them upgrades, leave them be and just use your eyes and look around and see if you can find every single nook and cranny. Overall, the developers done a great job in my opinion. The humour is just enough there, but it isn't too old or too in your face. There's plenty of humour just from actually playing the game. The yucky moments when you've put your hands inside an alien's eye. A decent little game, definitely something to recommend you buy if you're looking for something pretty short and sweet and just to tide you over to maybe the next big release. Replayability, it's probably not there obviously once you've gone and complete the game fully and got every collectible, although that will take a considerable amount of time. What I would like the developers to do is update the game in future with either a new game plus, a hardcore mode, or possibly some more challenges or arenas, maybe to really test our parkour skills. As I said, that wasn't maybe enough in the game. Only towards the end did you get to enjoy the seamless riding around on these tethers. And honestly, that was some of the most fun. I'd love some more challenges where I'll have to do stuff like that, where you don't touch the ground. That is one of them, by the way. Give us more devs, update the game with a nice aftercare patch that's got more challenges in it and more things to do. I'd love to see some of that, and I just kind of wish the game didn't end so short. As I said, you probably sail through the story if you're just doing the story and the bare stuff in about 10 to 12 hours. Give it another 3 or 4 and you'll have a fair amount of collectibles, and if you're really going for every single thing, it's probably only going to take you about 20, possibly 25 hours depending on how fast, slow or how many screenshots you're taking. That was one tiny little drawback, that you couldn't take any actual photos while paused. You always were in a live environment, so often I went to take a picture of some of the cool creatures and I ended up getting taken out by them. Also, the music is great, it's fun, it made me want to hum Old Town Road for some reason, but it does get a bit repetitive. There didn't seem to be as many music tracks in it towards the end, and I definitely was thinking like, yeah, I've heard this enough by now. Are we going to see some DLC? Are we going to see some actual patches come into it? Probably not. As I said, the company's been bought or taken over by Google Stadia. Looks like they're going to be making games exclusively for them in the future, so can't really see them revisiting it. I hope I'm wrong, and if I get any more information about any future plans, I'll let you guys know. Available on Xbox, the PlayStation and Epic Games Store. The game's definitely worth its small, lower price, and it's filled with quality and filled with humour and filled with a decent amount of combat, and that exploration is really its selling point. Go and get this game. Until next time, Ratbags, hopefully I'll be doing this a lot more full reviews. I'm going to be checking out Breath Edge, another space comedy game, hopefully soon. That's in early access on PC at the moment. That's going to be my next big one. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll see you later.